What if I told you that the key to better relationships with both people and God has been hiding in plain sight all along? Hello, everyone. In this episode, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of attachment theory and how it impacts our relationships, not just with other people, but with God as well. In this episode, we'll explore different attachment styles, how they develop, and most importantly, how understanding them can help us forge deeper, more meaningful connections. So, whether you're struggling with relationships, trying to start new ones, or simply want to grow, this episode is for you. What is attachment theory? According to Deborah Fileta, she says that attachment theory is a counseling principle that refers to our ability to connect with our emotions as well as significant others in our lives. What are the types of attachment? According to Deborah Fileta in her book Reset, she says there are two broad categories, one being secure attachment, and this is a healthy connection with others. And then you have insecure attachment. This is struggling to feel wanted, loved, valued, needed, appreciated, or cared for. Under this umbrella of insecure attachment, there are three types. The first one is what she calls anxious attachment. And this is you're worried about relationship with others. You're well aware of your relationship with others, but you may seem needy. Second one is a shutdown attachment. You avoid relying on others. You prefer control. You feel that people can't be trusted. And because of these feelings, you keep your feelings bottled up. And then third is shame-based attachment. You may blame yourself for relationship failures. You feel that you don't deserve relationships. You may push others away and fear that people will see the real you and run away. Attachment theory and God. How does our attachment style impact our relationship with God? Our attachment with God is more about how we see and experience Him and less about the things we do to prove that we follow God. You see, humans tend to look at our lives through the lens of our past. We tend to attach to God based on our own attachment style. All right, continuing our discussion of attachment theory and God. In her book Reset, Deborah Fileta mentions another book by Crispin Mayfield that is titled Attachment to God. And she follows this by giving some examples about each of the insecure attachment styles and how they may impact our relationship with God. So the first one being an anxious attachment style. So applying this, we might worry that God might not stay close, so we perform what Deborah calls our spiritual checklist to keep Him close. Number two, if we have a shutdown attachment style, we might be afraid to show Him our feelings, maybe fearing that God may be disappointed in us. And third, shame attachment style, we might wonder if we are good enough to deserve His love. We might lean towards self-blame. Stay attached. Now, we've talked about these and broken them down, but I want to offer you some encouragement. And as much as I'm teaching this and sharing this with you, I am telling this to myself as well. Regardless of what place in your life or what place in your journey you find yourself, we all struggle with this. And so we all need these words of encouragement from time to time. So if you find yourself in the anxious attachment style, I would encourage you to look at John 15:4. I will be reading from the NLT. It says, "Remain in me and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me." Now, there's a lot going on in this verse, but what I want to point out is that God longs to be close to you. He longs to be close to me. And any thought that is in your brain that tells you otherwise is a lie. Second, I want to look at the categories of shutdown and shame attachment styles. There is nothing that we can do as humans, as children of God, positive or negative, that will cause God to love us more or less. God's love is unconditional, meaning God's love never changes based on our performance. And God is bigger than our emotions. He's bigger than the drama that we may bring with our past or our present emotions. So whatever you've got, whatever you're feeling, God can handle it. All right, we're now at my favorite segment of the podcast, and that is the take action segment. This is when we apply the things that we've learned in the episode. In this exercise, we're going to be talking about how we connect with God and others. So, number 1 is, out of the 3 insecure attachment styles listed, which one do you relate with the most? Number 2, it says list experiences from your past that may have influenced your attachment style. Number 3 has 2 parts. Part A is, how does your attachment style play out in your relationship with others? And part B is, how does it play out in your relationship with God? Number 4 is, what is one thing you can do this week to intentionally stay attached to God? And number 5 is, what is one thing you can do this week to intentionally stay attached to others? Verse reflection. This week's verse is in John chapter 15, verse 4, and I'll be reading from the NLT. It says, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me." Let's review what we've learned. In this episode, we broke down the different attachment styles. We explored how these attachment styles develop, and we discussed how understanding them can help us forge deeper, more meaningful connections. Now, keep in mind that understanding our attachment style is the first step towards healthier relationships. No matter your past experiences, it's possible to develop more secure attachments. Remember to stay connected, stay attached, and watch your relationships transform.